Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
As always, the Ramble is sponsored by Action Coach Sheffield. If you're a growing business and you want support to continue that growth, they are the people to speak to. Thank you for joining the team for their continued support for the Ramble. Today's Ramble is also sponsored by High Point Access. Thank you to them for their support. They are your number one stop shop for all your working at heights and roofing needs. If you mention the Blades Ramble when booking any works with them, you'll also get 10% off. That was silly, weren't it? What is happening, Blades? And welcome back to the Blades Ramble. Let me just see if I can change something. Yes, I can. Oh, that's brilliant. That's really good to know. It's not the warm-up, though. It's not the warm-up. I'm trying to do some different things. Didn't really work as sweetly as I wanted there. I got caught out. I'll be honest. I was trying to find a certain intro for a certain somebody that's going to be joining me soon. But I'd not put it on the new... I'm doing all this fancy dance stuff, separating things out, so I'm much more organised and prepared. Well, you see what happens there, don't you? Stay in your lane, Jimmy. Stay in your lane, pal. Right, so welcome back to the Blades Ramble. This is, of course, 90 after 90. What is happening? 90 after 90, where we talk about the previous game. Obviously, we had Borough at home last night, so it was a night game. And with night games at home, it means I can't do 90 after 90 afterwards. Because I go to the game, it takes me an hour to get back, longer yesterday in traffic. I can't come on at 11:30. I appreciate some of you would be here to watch because we're so buzzing about particularly the result yesterday and the performance. But yeah, we have to wait until it's appropriate for everybody, really. I could have gone earlier with this, but I think we've all got a bit of a settled time for 90 after 90 being access to as many as people as possible, because later in the evening is obviously that, because I appreciate a lot of people work. So what did we think to that brilliant, beautiful, wonderful performance? I think you can understand where I am with it. It was incredible. Incredible. We bossed them from start to finish. I thought, do you know, I've said this already on, I can't remember whether it were Battle Lines or I've also been on a Luton Town stream today. So I can't remember which one I said it on, but there were a moment in the game where I thought, we are that on top here. I can see karma coming back and biting us in the backside. By that, I meant we robbed Portsmouth, completely robbed them. And I think most Blades would be happy to admit that. But we were bossing Borough. Went 1-0 up, and then he blows for that ludicrous penalty clear. And you know, I would, if I thought Jack Robinson were at fault, I'd quite happily say so. But that happens. I mean, don't give him a decision to make. That's the only thing I could probably say. But that happens 9 corners out of 10. And it's 6 or 1.5 dozen other. It's not like Robinson's the main offender. I could not believe it were a penalty. And I said to my dad, this could be it, you know, this could be Borough doing to us what we did to Portsmouth. They could nick one or even go away with a point, and they were nowhere near. I thought they were poor, but I thought you can't take anything away from us in our performance. I thought we were really, really good yesterday. It were delightful to see, if I'm honest. So, yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing about it. I've already got loads of people waiting backstage to talk to me about it, so thank you to everybody that's here. Let's have a look. We've got loads of comments to get through already. So thank you to everybody that's up for this and well in the mood for talking about how good Sheffield United were last night. Is it going to be the start of turning the corner in terms of performances? We've still been getting the results, but not very convincingly. And I think Wilder's pretty much said that, hasn't he? Well, you can only hope that this was the start of us. And we don't know because it's one performance. But in your opinions, is this the start of us turning the corner? The quality players that we know we have finally started to click. What about Anel yesterday? What about Anel Ahmedhodzic bringing the ball out of defence and charging into midfield like he used to do last time we were in the Championship and having a real dominant effect on the game? confident and comfortable on the ball throughout the team. Sydie, Peck, we've brought in all these high reputation players. And I said that with like Ben Berrett and Diaz comes with a high reputation. Tom Cannon comes with a big price tag. Hamza Chowdhury comes with a big reputation. Rob Holding comes with a big historic reputation. Obviously, I appreciate he's not played regularly for the last couple of years. The young kid that came through our academy that we bought for 150 grand from Arsenal's youth setup because it was surplus to requirements. And it credit to Eki Outsal who said this yesterday. She was like, not only did we not expect a breakout season from Peck, but sometimes things happen for a reason. And when one door closes, another one opens. So the unfortunate thing that happened to Ollie Arblaster with his serious injury, nobody ever wishes that to happen. But what that did was give Sydie Peck an opportunity. So out of a terrible situation, not only will we soon have one brilliant midfielder in Ollie Arblaster back fit again, we will now have two brilliant midfielders, both from our youth system, that we'd have only had one previously because Peck were getting nowhere near the first team. He may have got minutes, but he was getting nowhere near the amount of game time that he's got so far. So sometimes things happen for a reason. And even if you don't believe in that, sometimes things work out in the end. And I thought that were a great point by Eki Outsal. We'll come on to more stuff that we all talked about during the game, but we've loads to get to. And I'm not going to be on my own tonight. I've got a co-host. You may know him well. He's the housewife's favourite. Here's the man Mountain.
This is the view from the mountain with a heart so pure it's astounding. Man Mountain, strong and true. What a man, what a view.
What a man, what a view. How's it going, Mr. Mountain?
Why not? Why not bask in the glory of last night's victory? Like, honestly, I went to bed last night like that.
I know, mate.
It was brilliant. It was superb, wasn't it? It was superb.
How good is it to play so well? It were unbelievable, wasn't it? Talk to me about how you saw the game, mate.
Well, I thought it was the risks. It was the risk that we were willing to take on a performance that I felt like the previous game, like you said, it was very pedestrian. It was sideways. It was safe. And if you're going to win football matches, I said this the other day on Hot Topic as well. You've got to be willing to do the hard stuff, the stuff that doesn't require talent, which is apply yourself, run around, win tackles, and put the effort in. And you can see from the very beginning, not only was there that, but it allows us to play. And when we've started playing, without exaggeration, I don't think we've played that good a combination football since we were last in the Premier League, finishing 9th. In terms of, I'm serious. In terms of the movement between the players, the understanding that they showed, I think it's a massive testament to the work that's gone into the transfers over the last couple of months. Because what we had there was a Callum O'Hare who, even despite a poor performance on Saturday, we've managed to get ourselves a victory. We've rested one of our top players who needed a rest, let's face it, by the look of it. And he's come back. We've managed to rest Peck as well. A lad who we even said at times was dead on his feet after an hour, and he was still going at 80, 90 minutes. And it was like, and we knew it, didn't we? We talked about the rigors of first team football for young players.
Oh,
they're not used to it. And it takes time, and you've got to take them in, take them out. That happens all over the place. But he was pranged in there because we needed him to be. And he came back, and like Wilder says, roaring back, because now he knows that one-off performance, an off day can't happen, because we've got guys behind him who'll come on for him after 55, 60 minutes if he's not at the races, and then he'll lose his spot. So not only have you got the opportunity to rest players, you're also pushing your first team players on. You're telling them, you've got to go in there and perform now, because if you don't, we've got him coming back, and he's sat there watching, and it's like, and it creates a completely different culture within the team. And last night for me was the benefit of all of that.
Do you think we've leveled up then? Would you say, as in, like, do you think this is the start of an improvement. I don't expect us to play that well every game, obviously, but do you think this is the start of us starting to click, which has been the big thing, hasn't it? It's like the imminent word was in January. Click is the word of February, isn't it? And get the team to gel. Do you think this is the start of it, where we're finally seeing that individual quality blend together in a bit more of a team ethos?
Yeah, and we have had spells where we've played well this season. I know the narrative at the minute is we're where we are without playing well at all, and we have played well this season at times. But what we've had a core of 12 or 13 players that were in to do that, sometimes 3 times a week, and that does not bode well, because after a while that little edge that you need at this level to go past somebody to play, that give you that extra 5-10%, it's not there. But now you look across the bench, you think, right, the bench has pulled us out the mire on Saturday, and last night the players that were put in there, which a lot of us said, yeah, we want to start Raksaki. Yes, we need the O'Hare Hamer combination. I think Saturday's game was a massive advert for Callum O'Hare, because it just showed us how much we actually missed him. Yeah. A lot of us knew he was playing well, but it just showed how much United need him in that midfield to link that play, because that was completely and utterly what was missing on Saturday and last night. Everybody's performed really well. Everything's clicked, like you said. Doesn't mean we're going to play like that every week. Let's not kid ourselves. But if we play anywhere near that, we'll be looking at the majority of our games being victories this season.
I think the only thing to touch on with the Callum O'Hare point, I think it's a really good one, because we clearly missed him on Saturday. But there were still question marks as to whether we missed the 10 rather than Callum O'Hare. So was it the formation with the 2 deep sixers and the 2 men up front that sort of knocked us off balance, rather than us actually missing Callum as an individual? Well, he put that to bed last night, because I thought he was absolutely outstanding. So I appreciate a lot of people would argue, me included, that Gus Hamer would do a brilliant job in the 10. I'm not changing it up at the minute. I'm just not. I think last night proved that they're working well together again. Gus can play off that left-hand side and do really well. Callum O'Hare in the 10 is where he's meant to be, isn't it? So he played so well yesterday, as did a lot of our side. Sydie Peck were my man of the match. I think he got it in the end, didn't he? Somebody had told me it was Gus earlier on. But,
Gus got it on the telly.
I got you right. Okay. Fair dues, mate. So, right, I'm going to jump into some comments now then, pal, because there's loads to get through. So, Phil starts us off tonight with best performance of the season by far. We were positive and moved the ball so much better. Peck was fantastic and has really upped his level. This is great for him and the team. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Well said. S17 says, Callum O'Hare integral to the way we play in that 4-2-3-1 system. Peck and Hamer, 9 out of 10 performances. Borough seemingly back to his start of the season form, worryingly. Get Jackie Longthrow out of the team is a liability. Up the Ramble, up behind the Ramble. Okay, so talk to me about Jack Robinson then, Mr. Mountain.
I thought you summed it up really well. I think, personally, if VAR is involved, and I know a lot of people bemoan VAR.
Yeah.
But if that had been involved last night, I don't think the penalty gets given, because it was noted at halftime by Chris Uwulamano, who used to play for Wolves. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Scottish striker.
Yes, yeah, very much so. The Scottish striker, the big lad. Yeah, no, he said, I was invited to a referees thing at the start of the season, and he said he was told if 2 players are doing exactly the same thing to each other in the box, then you let it roll, and you don't, and there's no penalty given. And I thought, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because they were both at it.
Yeah.
And it was poor from the ref. I mean, I think if you're going to go out on a limb and say, "Oh, I can see him doing that," but you can't see this bit over here, and then you can miss. Let's have it right. 3 raised arms, okay, 3 attempts to give people a slap or a cuff. I was like, that for me. If retrospectively he doesn't get a fine and a ban for that, I mean, from what I've seen in my years of watching footy, that is a red card every single time. So I just think, Robinson, like you said, gave the referee an opportunity to make a call. But do I think it was a penalty? No.
I
Do I
agree.
think it was a red card? It had to be a red card. So I struggled with that, but let's not let that cloud what was a really really good performance.
Absolutely right. Absolutely.
That was their only sniff, really. I didn't see them beating Cooper any other way. To be frank,
He's so good.
and I thought Bergzog,
Good player.
despite his little I didn't particularly. I don't like that. If you hit a last minute winner and whatever, it's always coming back to bite. And Benson did the same for Burnley when they got done 5-2 at half, and he came down to the cop like this, and I was like, oh yeah,
we'll see you later, pal.
Yeah, we'll see you later, pal. But I felt he was decent actually. He was a bit of a threat.
He was good. Was good.
Yeah, he was decent. So we'll give him that. But no, I thought we were all over him, and it felt inevitable. Obviously, with 15-20 to go, I'm going, how are we not winning this game?
I know. I know.
Like you said, have the karma police been out to do us over? But no, I felt it was fitting. We got the goal. Anel's face. I haven't stopped looking at pictures of Anel since then. Every interview, he's like that. It's like he's
Straight striker, isn't he? Let's be right. He loves a goal.
Well, he took it well. But, I mean, Travers is a good keeper at this level.
Played well, I thought, Travers.
Yeah, he's a good goalkeeper. Certainly at this level, he's a really good signing for them. But to be frank, he's got to come and deal with that third one. But
yeah, he has.
Who are we to worry? And
ground, I said he's let him send down there because he's played really well tonight.
Yeah.
So
and I think with the first time I think I'm ever going to criticise Tyrese Campbell since he joined, he has got to square that ball. If he doesn't score, which he didn't, and it wasn't a particularly good finish either, he's got to just square that as a tap. I know.
It's same as the Cannon chance of the week, isn't it? Where Cannon didn't roll it when he could have rolled it to the side, and it's a tap in pretty much. So
yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I really don't like when a striker has the opportunity just to roll his mate in and don't bother, and then misses the chance just to come.
I know.
It was that was the only thing I'd say was him and the ref were the only blotches on a perfect evening, and the atmosphere sounded amazing. So
we're brilliant, mate. Really good. It were back to decent levels again last night. Honourable mentions for I think the ref helped with that, to be honest, because it felt a little bit anti-Blades, some of the decisions they were making, and that's G'd the crowd up, and we were playing so well as well. It were easy to get behind them. Honourable mentions for Anel and Cooper. So under the radar, how well Cooper has done this season. Not from Blades, I don't think, S17. It might have done. I don't think it's got coverage. I haven't seen a lot of coverage on it, but he's been our best signing for me, Michael Cooper, in terms of shoring up the defence and having confidence in the goalkeeper is everything for a defender. Probs won't get in the team of this year because Trafford's clean sheets, but he's the best in the league, in my opinion, absolutely by a country mile. Phil says, Peck was immense, Hamer unplayable, Desraki brilliant. I love that Desraki's stuck. Love it. Thank you for that. Evening, Andy the Blade. BBD, what a finish. And Cannon, I agree with you, Dad. I thought you might. Fair dues. It was a good win, says Sam. That's our best team that played last night. The beauty of it is, Sam, is it though? It certainly looked it last night. I'm not questioning the lineup at all because they played so well. But you look at the difference between last night and 10 games prior. We were starting Ryan O'Neill up front. We were bringing on Andre Brooks. All these sorts of little things, which is no slight on them, by the way. It's a case of who's ready to play at the top of the championship. And last night, we bring off Raksaki and we bring on Ben Brereton Diaz. And we bring on Hamza Chowdhury. And we're bringing on players that are difference makers at this level. They will get in most teams in this league. So it's a huge level up for us to have done the business that we have. Jez says, excellent performance with a scoreline that didn't flatter. Hair's sublime touches and movement in the final third were a joy to watch. This is exactly what we've been wanting to see from the team. That's right. Helen, good evening. Sydie Peck, aka legend, deserves the spotlight. Sublime pass to Diaz. Best pass I have seen in a long, long time. Well-deserved man of the match. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, up behind the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Thank you, Helen. Joe says, Cooper 9, Clark 9, Anel 10, Robbo 7, Burrows 8, Vinny 9, Peck 11, Hamer 10, Cal 10, Desraki 9, Cannon 6. Cannon 6. That numpty with the whistle -1 performance made me proud to be a Blade. I think there's some unfair shouts on Tom Cannon here. George Dodgy Motson says, evening, Jim and all the Ramblers. Best performance of the season last night. It was night and day from the Pompey performance. Peck was outstanding and O'Hare. We missed him against Pompey. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Up Ramble on the road. George always loves all the Ramble on the road plug. Up the Blades, I think we're going for there. So, speaking of Ramble on the road, if you haven't already, do you know what? I've got it on a different thing. Let's see if it'll work if I try this. No, it won't. Yeah, it will. Of course it will. Of course it will. If you haven't seen Kieran's Ramble debut, by the way, on Ramble on the Road, get it watched. He does a superb job. Absolutely superb job from Kieran, who's, as I say, not made content before. We try and make it as comfortable as we can, but that was all Kieran yesterday. So thank you to Kieran. He's our third man to take on Ramble on the Road. Jamie Dumpling will be taking us to Luton with him this weekend. So get ready for that video. Looking forward to putting that together. And thank you to Jamie for taking us with him.
Is he going to sing? Because that greasy chip butty rendition, he did a couple, didn't he? He was giving it large on them. I was loving it. Absolutely loving that.
Well, that's what it's about, isn't it? That's what I want to capture the atmosphere in its entirety. So yes, well done to Kieran and Jamie. That's what you've got to beat, pal. David says, evening, Jimmy and all the Ramblers. Last night was more like it. If that was a penalty, then we should have had one, as the corner from Gus nearly went in early and had arms around Cannon's neck. Up all the Rambles, up the Blades. Yeah, it were a joke of a decision, wasn't it, David? Stephen says, good evening, Steve. Such a great all-round team performance. Individually good, but collectively magnificent. Plenty to talk about, but the underlying statement is the Blades are back with a bang. Love that. If that's how we intend to play, then it's our benchmark for the season. Positive Jack coming up now. Come on, surely. Evening, Jimmy lad. What a performance. Never once looked to pass back in that first half. Constantly piling on the pressure. What a team individual performance. Peck was outstanding. Hamer had those defenders on ice. O'Hare was everywhere. Just needs to shoot. Raksaki causing problems. Ref needs studying. Borough put more effort into boxing Robbo and Vinny than the entire game. Yeah, unfortunate. Mr. V says, hi, Jimmy. That's the United we've all been waiting for. Hallelujah. I expect to see much more of this kind of football till the end of the season, with everyone contributing in a forward-thinking manner. Yeah, absolutely, it'd be great, wouldn't it, Mr. V? If we can get close to those levels most games, we're going to be all right, I think. I've sent you a message, Mr. V, by the way. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but I sent you one last night before we went into the game. Mr. Mumford in the building, been buzzing all day. Is Sydie going to be our next superstar? Oh, the Blades up the right. He certainly is. Is he already? Spoiler alert, I've picked my team for Luton, and because I'm going to do the warm up tomorrow morning, so I've had to edit down my.
Can I guess what it is?
Born to be Wild. Go for it.
Can I guess what it is?
Go for it. Yeah.
So let me guess. Tyrese is in for Cannon.
Yeah.
And Holding's in for Robinson.
You're gonna have to watch. You're gonna have to watch and find
and
out.
Everything else is the same. Am I wrong?
I'm not telling you. You'll have to watch. You'll have to watch.
That's it. You've all heard it. That's my prediction.
No, you'll have to. Oh, yeah. So no point in watching now, is there? Thanks.
No point. I've done it now.
You might be wrong there. Actually, you might be wrong.
Okay.
What I did. Why I mentioned that is what I did say is, if Robinson comes out of the team, and it's a big if. Would you be against Sydie taking the armband?
It's a big shout, mate. It's a big shout.
It's a big shout, but I think it fits. I think it fits beautifully around that.
I think he's got the characteristics for it. I agree with you. Do I think you'd get it off Vinny Souza? Probably not, in my opinion.
Vinny Souza, is he a captain or is he just a very good player?
He actually grew with being a captain. When he was the skipper, we saw him. I think he enjoyed that, and I think he got better with it. So I'd be shocked if he did. That doesn't mean he's not a captain in the making. Not at all. Okay, I'll take that. That's sort of half a compliment. Right, so I'm going to bring in our first caller now. People have been waiting a while. I appreciate it. We can't get you all in at the same time. Well, we can, but we're not going to get you all in at the same time. Our first caller waiting. Look, Mr. Big Time, I think he's probably better known as at the minute. Making his he's shaking his head, but making his long-awaited return. Because what are we? Chop liver like on Ramble? Do you know what I mean? What's going off, Man Mountain? You know who it is, don't you? It's the one, the only.
Right. Lads, you're right.
When Saturdays come, how's it
When
going?
Saturdays come. Hey.
Where's your picture, Brian, behind you? We like your pic. We like Sean Bean looking at us like this.
Give you a fell off a wall, mate.
We've been replaced. It used to be that one at Triple Point where it's all in together, and now it's Sean Bean for when Saturdays come.
I need a bigger nail.
Oh,
Mate, I can't talk. Mine came down midstream last time, didn't it, Jim? The big flag. He's put his flag up down.
right.
Again.
Thank you for gracing us with your presence. I appreciate it, pal.
All right, pal.
Unbelievable, you. Unbelievable. I'm only kidding. First of all, before we get to the game, I'm going to give you a minute to discuss your YouTube channel. So you have set up your own channel, haven't you, pal? When Saturdays come, Sheffield United, mostly Sheffield United. I know you've covered other topics as well, but mostly Sheffield United content. How are you feeling about being a content creator, mate?
It's gone. I can't believe how well it's going at the minute. I've just got loads of. Well, what was it to this morning? About what, in 3 weeks, 270 odd subscribers. I think it's madness. Over about 12,000 views, and it's just mental. Comments are fantastic. I can't thank people enough for subscribing, and the comments have been all positive. It's been brilliant. I'm just surprised how people have took to it, and it's just been great. And I'm so grateful to you guys as well, because you let me come on your show. I'll always be with your lads anyway, but you give me a leg up as well, and I appreciate that. And so it's fantastic. It's doing really well, and thank you to you guys as well. It's more, and all the other ramblers as well. They've all been very positive down at Triple Point, and I'm grateful for that. It's just amazing. So thank you to everybody. Appreciate it. You know,
mate,
like and subscribe. It's been great.
Like a subscribe, got the lingo.
Get it in. Get it in.
I love it. Do you know what the best thing is, mate? And you're not the only one to have started a channel or a social media presence, like after being involved in the group, but it is the effect it's clearly had on you, which I love the most, because you're absolutely talking about. You can tell it's really invigorated you on it. It's sort of give you a spring in your step. I love it. And
confidence. It gives you confidence to do other things as well. It's just a big difference from doing like a faceless YouTube channel to come on and do it yourself. Sit in front of a camera and talk for 10 minutes or so. It's quite daunting to start with, but once you get used to it, it's great. It's absolutely brilliant. So, but anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about.
We plugged you more than I plugged my sponsors, and you'll give me no.
Good lad.
Come on, mate.
Remember, Brian, you'll always be the official youth team scout for the Ramble, so don't forget.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. It's an ironclad contract. You can't get out of that, I'm afraid. So,
no.
And what did you think to yesterday, pal?
Right, we'll just touch up referee, because I agree with Paul on this one. I'd love to know. I reckon somebody must have some stats somewhere. How many games that refereed? How many games is give corners to? And how many penalties is he actually given? Because if that's the only one he's given, he must be going into games blindfolded. Yeah. Because what happened in that, it happens in every game. Every game. There's tussles at every game he watched. So how many games has he actually watched? Or from a corner point of view, how many penalties has he actually given?
Yeah.
But it's a fair point, because what's he looking at?
Mate, honestly, I mean, like, I didn't, obviously we were at games, so we didn't hear half-time commentary from Iwalumo, but with Paul saying that refs have all been told you leave it if it's half an hour. Even if they'd have been told, you give it for every single one and it'll soon stamp it out. Yeah. All we want is consistency in decision making.
Correct.
We don't want like 6 of one, half a dozen of other. You give it, you choose it. Because how do you give a foul and then you book both players?
I know.
It's balmy. Absolutely balmy.
The thing with that as well is the like, for a striker, there's no comeback really for falling on the floor. But for Robinson, because he grabs him first, at that point, the referee's not seeing what's happening. If Robinson jumps on the floor and stops and forgets defending the corner, and he jumps and nods it in, that's a massive penalty for Robinson for doing that.
I'm all over him, by the way, if he does that.
Well, yeah, I know, 100%, and we all are, aren't we? Because we're like, well, he's supposed to be the hard nut. What's he doing on his face on the floor?
Not a penalty.
But the truth is nothing. There's no loss for the striker. If they're going to get given every single manager, every single centre half going up for a corner, every striker in the box at a corner now, what does that do for the rest of this division and the rest of football?
Thing is, though, it won't set the precedent, though, will it? Because they're
No.
inconsistent. It was the wrong decision to start with, but it's such an inconsistency that you're not going to get that. It's not like they've now decided that you're going to give them for such soft decisions. It's a joke, really. And I feel the refereeing standard, and I feel awful criticising the refs because we know some good people that are refs in our group as well. But the standard recently that we've had at the Lane has been really poor, and that was one at worst I've seen last night. Really,
look, I don't like slamming referees like anybody else, but it is the inconsistencies of the decisions that they make what gets up your nose.
Yeah, it does.
That's all it is.
Brian, how many times are we going to see strikers jump on the floor? Okay, and I did see one the other day, fair play, where the referee saw him, didn't want to give a penalty.
Yeah.
I can't remember which game it was. I think it was a Premier League game. And the referee, and he jumps on the floor, and the referee comes up and gives him a yellow because he's like, "That's a dive, that's a yellow card," and he gives it.
Yeah,
seldom happens. Like that is few and far between. The rarity. If Jack Robinson jumps on the floor when he grabs him there because the ref can't see what's going on, he could cost us a goal, and he's not going to do it. But for the strikers, my thing is the impact it has, because people are watching that on Sky Sports and watching it thinking, other teams thinking, if we get this ref in future or anytime someone puts their hand on you in the box, jump on the floor, because what have we got to lose? They're probably not going to book me. You know, chance we get a game-changing penalty at the same time, and for what? You know, we're allowed to grab them, but as soon as they grab us, we jump on the floor. It's true. Consistency.
And pens can change the whole momentum of the game. It could have swung their way completely. If they'd have got nicked another, which they were on the break, weren't they? If they'd have nicked another before half time, we could be walking away with nothing from game, despite how well we played first half. So
I know. Well, that's
so dangerous. But anyway,
just that one. Sorry, mate.
I was just going to say we've got to move on to something positive though after last night.
Yeah. I was going to say I might as well move on to something else, but yeah, you were right about. Let's go to Sydie Peck. What a guy, you know.
That pass.
I know.
Not just about the pass, because his overall performance were brilliant, but that pass for Brereton Diaz, unbelievable. Pocket and slide, as Wilder said. Pocket and slide.
Yes, it's what it needed after Saturday. I think. Hey, Chowdhury and Souza are two similar type of players at Middle of Park.
Yes,
and we needed something different, and we got it with Pecky, and that's the perfect move. It can't change that for Saturday. I'd be very surprised. I know what my team might be, but I'd leave it alone. That I really would.
You do not know what my team is.
Actually. I know, but just guessing. But I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it. My team anyway.
This man has assumed he knows my team.
You're tipped. Has he tipped him off? Have you tipped him off?
No, not at all. He knows me. He thinks he knows me.
I'm out on a limb. The one thing I would say, the one thing I really, really liked about Peck yesterday was he was taking the ball in really tight areas, and his first touch was taking him away from players.
Absolutely.
That's what Blaster were doing as well. Blaster did that.
So that is the sign of someone who's pre-scanning, looking around before the ball gets to him, think, what to do with this ball? And it was that kind of move as well, which opened his body. He opened his body, opened the play, and that set him off. That's like that, yeah. Set him off. Set Brereton Diaz, saw him on his back straight away. That's we were saying
vision.
But then the threaded ball, perfect.
And a great finish as well, by the way. I know a lot's been said about the pass.
Yeah, I mentioned that this morning. It was a sublime finish, weren't it? That's a striker's finish. That was brilliant. Absolutely.
It was his first touch that I really loved. I thought a number of times he was taking the ball in close quarters with the opposition, and he was looking after it. He's been guilty of giving it away sometimes in that scenario before, but he just looked like he stepped up a massive level with that. And
Right, is Peck in the conversation for captain's armband at some stage, do you think?
Hey, just think of next season when we've got our Blaster back as well. Them two together, who's having it banned? Blaster will have the band.
Blaster keeps it, doesn't he? But
absolutely.
But Peck is a more than suitable stand-in, and it's going to be tough, isn't it, when they're all fit and available? Because you can't drop Sydie Peck if he plays like that. You can't drop him. So.
No. What about Heyman? What about Hamer? You know what it reminds me of? Illy and Dye. When he's got that ball and he runs at him, twisting, turning, having a pop.
I'm going to call
Brilliant.
my mate out now. I'm going to call my mate out when Dad's at Sophie's football. I won't name him because I know he don't like to be have his head stuck above parapet. But he messaged me last night saying this is a huge call, but Hamer's better than Illiman. I'm sorry, mate. I'm sorry. I love Gus Hamer.
Yeah.
But there's nobody like Illiman and Dye that I've seen in the Sheffield United shirt. So let's not get too carried away.
I think they're very different.
It was
they are very different.
That first 20 minutes, he was absolutely unplayable, Gus Hamer. Everything he was touching was coming
Nutmeg
off.
Daly.
Oh, you are?
Nutmeg Daly.
That was lovely, yeah. That was lovely as well. Yeah, so brilliant. Really good. Bright, thank you for joining us, pal. Anything else you want to cover while now you've got
let somebody else come on as well. You know, it's been fantastic and appreciate you letting me come on. It's been great.
Hey, mate, it's great to have you back. Great to have you back. And I'll
always be here, mate. No worries.
Oh, you make me cry. Okay.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate. See you soon.
Take care, lads.
See you
soon.
See you, mate.
Nice one, Bri. Thank you, pal. Right, let's just try and jump into some more comments until we get to our next guest. Mr. V says, what can you say about Callum O'Hare and Gustavo Hamer? When those two play together, their chemistry is undeniable. And with Peck playing like he did, outstanding. We're ready to take on weed. Up the Blades, up the Ramble.
Take on weed. Take on weed. Okay.
Leeds, man. Let's go, says Toronto Blade. Let's go, baby. That's Deontay Wilder, isn't it? A win is a win, but it's just that more sweet when we pair it with a performance like that. Sorry, that wasn't easy for me to say. Excited to see what this team can do if we continue to play like that. Up the Ramble, up the Blades. Liam says, evening, pal. Hope you're well. Gutted I'm at work. Wanted to call in tonight after that performance. It's the best of the season. Each and every one of them was unreal. That pass from Sydie was world class. And Hamer's pass for the first goal split them in two. I was so proud of them last night. If we play like that for the rest of the season, we'll win most of our games, if not all of them. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, up behind the Ramble, up the full-time Ramble. Please like and subscribe. Hope you're having a good time, Liam. Liam, who I hope his boss isn't watching, but joined us for Hot Topic live from work this week. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Not only that, wherever he works, it's ridiculously noisy as well. So he'd try and talk and join in conversation with everybody in background. Fantastic. Thanks, Liam. We love you, pal.
Top
Craig
man.
says,
Top man, Liam.
he is a top man. Where have you been, Jimmy? I set my alarm for this morning so as not to miss you. I thought about it, Craig. I thought about it. And do you know what else I had? I had hot off the presser penciled in because I didn't know whether he'd be doing his press conference this morning or tomorrow morning. Obviously, it turns out it's probably tomorrow morning now. But with us going down to Luton, I assumed wrongly that we'd probably travel down on Friday. And we may still do that and he'll just do the presser in the morning. But I had it penciled in that we might have had a hot off the presser this morning. 90 after 90 is always better when you can get more, because this is the most interactive show we've got with people calling in. So I just wanted as many people to have the opportunity to come on. And I knew Liam were working, so he wouldn't be able to call in. So that's why. I'm only kidding. I didn't. That's the best I've seen us all season, says Ollie. Passion was there. Raksak is finally turning me now. Need Gilchrist to start on Saturday with Brooks and take out Clark and him. Really? You need Brooks, what? Gilchrist and Brooks to start over Clark and Hamer, Ollie. Ollie, is that a wind-up? Any justification for that, Man Mountain?
I don't know what to say.
I mean, the Gilchrist for Clark, I understand, although Clark's underlying numbers, I think it was the Bladesman that retweeted this. I don't know where it originally came from, apologies. But his underlying numbers for the game last night were really, really strong. He didn't stand out to me as somebody that really performed to his best. I thought he was very good, but his underlying numbers were superb. So I don't think he'll come out of the team. Why are you taking Gus Hamer out? Is that due to injury? But if it is due to injury, it's not Brooks for me. It's Ben Burton Diaz, surely.
Yeah, I think. Well, Hamer's is he talking about his hamstring? Maybe saving him for the Leeds match.
Possibly.
That's a rationale I can get on board with. But if he's fit, he's got to play, even if he comes off after an hour. Yeah.
Agreed. Craigo says, great performance all round last night. Should have been 2 or 3 goals up at half time. And where do we get that ref from? Penalty my backside. Chris says, great result, great performance. Now we know United can play well, so keep it going till the end of the season. Sorry, up the Blades, up the Ramble. Getting too excited with last night's result. Don't you be sorry, pal. You're fine. Neil says, evening. The one thing we can say is Vinny and Peck are a pairing that work. Where Vinny and Hamza don't work, but the overall performance was what we've been missing. Positive. Go for it, mate. Go on. How?
Right. How? Yeah, it was rubbish on Saturday. We know it was. And their pairing didn't work. Nothing worked, really, at all on Saturday.
Correct.
Other than Michael Cooper, probably. And then the week before, Hamza and Vinny did work, didn't it? Hamza and Vinny together?
It did.
It really worked. So I think, again, I spoke about us being a bit reactionary. The difference between now and Saturday is enormous on the back of one performance. So, yeah, I mean, again, like closing the game out yesterday, it wouldn't surprise me to see the two of them if we're 1 or 2 goals to the good and someone needs to come off for them two to drop in together. It wasn't just that. It was everybody was passing forward. So he'd given him a rocket. He'd made it clear in public that he wasn't happy about it. I thought everybody played better this game.
I did. And I agree with you. I think Hamza can consider himself unlucky, to be honest, because he was one of 10 or 11 that played poorly the week before. And he was one of the sacrificial lambs that came out of the team. And now he's out of the team because he's not getting in front of Sydie Peck. Certainly not for the Luton game if Sidie's fit. If Sousa's picked up an injury, maybe Hamza comes in then. But at the moment, it's Sousa and Peck with the shirt, and Hamza's got to earn his way back in. I think he's slightly unfortunate with that because it could have been Vinny or Hamza quite easily to come out. But Vinny played well, again, like everybody did yesterday. So like you say, it was a bit reactionary. We understand that, though, because that's what fans are like, isn't it? That's what we're all like, is in the moment and emotional about it. Oh, well, they clearly don't work together. Maybe it was the fact that they didn't have a 10 and it was just straight up to 2 strikers and the gap was too big. So maybe if they have a 10 working with them, they might be a little bit more cohesive, if you like. So we'll see. I'm going to bring in our next caller now. Appreciate there's a couple of lads waiting who have been waiting a while. So first up, it's Mark. How's it going, pal?
How are we doing, chaps? You okay?
Very well, thank you, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate.
That performance.
I was going to say, how can you not be after last night?
It's brilliant, isn't it? Brilliant, mate. Tell me what you thought about it.
I was just thinking then, I don't know what's worse, that refereeing performance or the fact we only paid 150 grand for Sydie Peck. It's ridiculous. When you think about it, it's mad, isn't it? But he was outstanding. Like, I think I've been a bit, not critical of him, but I think at times he's quite, I think his passion sort of sometimes gets in the way a little bit and he's a bit hot-headed and stuff like that. But he seemed to have it calm last night. And to be honest, I think whoever we play at middle, I'm really not fussed.
It was a really mature performance, wasn't it? It was a really mature performance from him last night, I thought.
Yeah, you got to think as well, he's young. He's not, a lot of people think he's a bit older than he is, but how old is he?
21,
21, something like that.
Yeah.
Like, unbelievable to step in how he has. Like, I mean, good mate of mine said, and I don't know what you two think, but my mate thinks he'll be better than our blaster.
He's 20. He's 20.
20 years
old.
He's not 21. He's not 21 till September.
It's crazy, isn't it? But no, I think last night, I think I spoke to you, Jim, a couple of weeks back and said, I think Raksaki's got a big part to play, and I thought he were brilliant last night. Every time he got that ball, you look at their defence; they just went backwards and stepped. They're
frightened of him, aren't they? He's one of the few players we've got that can genuinely frighten teams when he runs at them. He can take them on at pace, and not only that, even when he's not firing on all cylinders, he takes at least 1, if not 2 players with him. So he's creating space for others straight away just by his presence. So you did say that, Mark. You definitely said it to me. I remember you talking about it because it was a point you wanted to make. My dad said the same against Portsmouth. He says Raksaki's going to come on here and change the game because it's crying out for a player like him. And he came on and he got the winner. And then he says Raksaki will be a big difference maker tonight. That was last night, and he was. I thought he played really well again yesterday. I thought he faded, if I'm honest, during the game, and got brought off probably around the right time, but it's 2-2 for him now. You can't underestimate the impact he's having, and it's not just the goals themselves, which are obviously one of the most important things. But like I say, it's his overall how he affects the shape of the team. Because if you're dragging 2 players with you, it creates huge gaps, doesn't it? For O'Hare to drop into and Sydie Peck to move into. It's a really key part of the cog. I think a cog in the machine, if you like.
The balance of the side, he balances us out.
He does, mate. He does. Anything else you want to cover, Marco?
Yeah, I was just going to say. So I think because look at last night, bench is probably the strongest it's been for ages.
How good were that bench?
Like you've just said, Raksaki were flagging a little bit, and I'll be honest, I weren't there last night for that's a different story, but I watched it on telly, and you could just see. I do think sort of what Carrick said about game was sort of petering out a little bit. I get what he means by that. We had a couple of chances to start with, and then it sort of went a little bit flat, and that's when Wilder said, "Right, we're not messing about. Let's get some off. Let's bring some on." And it made a difference as energy levels went back up again. And I thought BBD looked good when he come on. I mean, that pass just broke, innit?
Ridiculous, mate. Absolutely ridiculous.
What a finish though as well.
I know. Lifting it off at keeper. Just
that is composure personified. He knows where the goal is at this level.
1-1 at that point. It's not like that's the third for the icing on the cake. That is the pressure shot where he's gone through on goal. We saw, and again, we're not slating him at all because he's been great for us this season, but we saw Tyrese Campbell go through on goal and Fluffy's lines didn't quite have the finish.
It's funny, innit? Because I think it's funny because I think I was saying to my mate, if you had both of them running through, I think 9 times out of 10 you'd probably back Campbell. I mean, I remember Broughton Diaz when he first came. I think it was West Ham at home his debut. He scored 1. Got put through in second half, clean through like last night, completely fluffed it. And I think Campbell's probably he's the better finisher, isn't he, to be fair? So you'd have put your money on him to. But obviously, I know what you're saying with a miss and stuff like that, but.
No, I think it's an interesting conversation because I would probably argue without seeing Tom Cannon firing on all cylinders. So I don't want to completely exclude him from conversation, but they are definitely in conversation for best finishers at club out of them too. So, yeah, and that composure there, that it were just, I think that's what you're paying for, isn't it? Yeah, that's why you're paying the big money in terms of the big moments, big characters can take that responsibility on their shoulders and big moments, and it changes games.
Never broke stride. He couldn't have done it any better. I mean, if you look at it from behind the goal, he does sort of narrow his angle a little bit, but it's kind of like intentional because he knew the goalie's coming out, the goalie's making a big star shape like they do, and it's just perfectly just lifted up straight in the doo-doo, and it's straight in the corner. Like he didn't even break stride, and then he's peeling off before it's even hit the net, and I love that as well. He was so confident of that going in.
I think it's been lost a little bit, hasn't it, because how beautiful the pass was. I don't think the finish has got the credit it deserves. I don't know if it were like that on TV, Matt, where they were praising him rightly for a brilliant finish, or whether they were focused on pass. But everybody I were talking to in ground were like, "What an unbelievable pass by Sydie Peck," and it was. I don't want to take anything away from Sydie either, but the goal itself was sublime. I don't think he's got enough credit.
With that pass as well, I think the key thing as well for me, you go sort of 5 seconds before that. You touched on it earlier, Paul. You're having it in tight spaces. The turn's incredible to get him into that position to even make that pass.
Pocket and slide.
That's pocket and slide, isn't it? That's what it's all about. But no, I just wanted to say one more thing. I think Canel's come under a bit of criticism recently since sort of Robinson's come back into the team. He was brilliant last night. He seemed to win everything. He looked like the Anel of old.
He was brilliant.
Outstanding. I think for me, I said him or Sydie Peck. If either of them would have got man at match, it wouldn't have bothered me. I don't think you could separate them much. And I think I just wanted to say about Harry Clark. Me on Saturday, I were absolutely fuming. He were horrific.
Yes, I agree. Josh Murphy made him look like a League Two defender, didn't he?
Yeah, but last night, you've got to give it to him. He could have gone one way and he could have gone down, and he didn't. He come back, stepped up.
Sign of a good character, isn't it? Sign of a good character.
His numbers. His numbers were good.
The little nutmeg pass through to O'Hare, weren't it? Do you remember when he goes through into the area, and he nutmegs the centre half, and O'Hare nearly lifts. The keeper made a good save actually, nearly slots it afterwards.
Yeah.
I
think he looks like he's got composure in the final third, doesn't he?
I think O'Hare, man. I think he was born with a couple of batteries in his back because how he just keeps running and running.
Unbelievable.
He just seems to go like that with his hair. Just carries on. It's like what is going off? But they missed him. They could just see how much they missed him. He's integral to the way we play. Both of them are.
I agree. Sorry to interrupt you, mate, but Paul said it best because he rightly said. Best thing to happen to O'Hare, we're getting dropped in a terrible performance against Portsmouth because it highlights what we're missing in the team. But then again, I think he also, like I said earlier, needs to play well when he gets back in to show why it's him, not just a number 10. It's got to be him. And he did last night. It was so good yesterday, I thought. Really, really good.
Sorry, I think this. You made a really good point about when the game started to lull a little bit. It wasn't allowed to lull for very long, was it? Because the players that we had to come on, and we've already spoken about how that's different. But it actually, like you say, it's flipped a switch for everybody else. Because if you know, like after that performance on Wednesday, if you know that you've got the cavalry sat there, good to go, when things aren't quite going, we'll bring 1, 2, 3 on. And they'll come and change it for us. That's belief. That's like
it's going to go one of two ways, isn't it? You either up your levels or you crumble under pressure. And like Mark says, Clark did not crumble yesterday. He's got somebody. He had a poor performance. Spotlight were going to be on him as a bit of a weak link yesterday, and he stepped up to Mark yesterday. He could have crumbled. He's got Gilchrist behind him. Or if he comes into the side, Clark's probably out of the squad because of the loan situation. But Sariki's going to be back for Leeds. So, and he's played outstanding this season. Yes, admittedly, mostly as an impact sub, but two good players behind you, you can crumble under that sort of pressure. So it's been really interesting to see him step up again last night and put in a really good performance.
I think big thing as well with Clark is, and I touched on it to somebody earlier. You look at the fact Wilder could have just took him out last night.
Yeah,
and that's gonna dent his confidence. It's probably gonna make him feel rubbish about things, but he's stuck with him. He's showed a bit of confidence in him, and that's probably given him a lift to go out and perform how he did. So credit to him, to be fair.
Love that, mate. Anything else you want to cover while we've got you on, pal?
No, mate. Just I can see him resting Aimer Saturday. Me.
Oh, can you?
I can. Yeah. I just
9 games to go before Leeds, though.
He had 2 games ago. He had 2 games off, didn't he? It'll only be for the injury.
He'll play Luton, Luton, then Leeds.
It's Luton, then it's 9 days later.
Start, mate.
Yeah.
If he gets injured, though, then what? It's a fair point, isn't it? I get what you're saying, Paul. I agree. It's a big gap, but
mate, we thought he was injured after 25 minutes.
Yeah, he does look played quite a bit, doesn't he? And
it was weird. He just seemed to. He went down and then seemed to get up, put some DP. My mate says, "What's he doing putting DP on?" Like, and then he just seemed to carry on. And you could see though a little bit. He weren't as sort of that press front. He were hanging off a little bit. But he's just, when he don't play, we don't play, do we? It's simple as that.
Well, you've got to know your players, and Wilder obviously knows that he might think he's a little bit of a, I don't know, maybe a bit of a, I don't know, someone who, my leg hurts a bit. Yeah. Shut up and get on with it, mate. All right, then I will do. That kind of, he must know him.
Yeah.
As if it was, if it was another player who was feeling his hamstring, he might go, "Oh yeah, let's get him off because he's obviously injured." But maybe Gus, maybe he's a bit.
Gus the wuss.
I don't know if you've seen it as well. He's been doing rounds today.
I'm not trying to upset Gus. If you're watching, Gus, by the way.
Shout out to Blade Rumble. Go on, Mark.
He's been doing rounds today on Twitter. That it were about 15 minutes in. You probably wouldn't have had the best viewing ground, but that Vandenberg just clipped his own leg, gone over and rescued it against Campbell. And I'm like, what? What's that for? And my mate went, "Nah, he's clipped him. I says, "You watch this," and he just clips his own foot, goes down, and
gets free kick.
Referee
yesterday.
Oh, you were horrific. But he's one of them where I think if you said to somebody, name 5 referees in EFL that are just terrible, he'd be in that 5. He would.
Thing is, none of us like digging out referees, but sometimes you just have to call it as it is. And he was not good yesterday at all. Not good. So, yeah, hopefully, he learns from that performance because it didn't cost us yesterday. It could have done. It could have easily cost us yesterday. So, nice one. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you coming on, pal.
Cheers, chaps. Take care.
Thank you, Stu.
There's Mark. Good lads. See you soon.
Buddy.
Take care.
Ta-ra, mate. Cheers, Marco. Nice to have him on, as always. Right, where were we in the comments? Because I am, as expected, well behind. I think we can all agree that United we expect. That is the United we expect and want to see. We looked so dangerous going forward. I'd only make one change, and that's Robbo, because we have to. I do think for Peck to maintain this form, we need to manage his minutes, and we can do that now. We have a solid bench. Interesting. Yeah, I think you're probably right. Rich says, brilliant match, just the performance we all needed to settle us down a bit. Agreed. I'm glad we don't have the arrogance of the West Yorkshire lot, but we really needed a bit more confidence. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. Craig says, thought Gus had a really good game. Glad he started to cut in more and shoot. Done it the last 2 games, scored 1 and just wide last night. That was so close. Too good not to be trying that in every game. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Good to hear the Lane crowd up for it last night. Been far too quiet the last few home games. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Thank you, pal. Ian says, evening, Jimmy. Rewatched the game today, and we were even better second time round. I'm sure Wilder will have made it clear this morning. That's the standard now. Up the Blades, up all the Rambles. Like and subscribe. Thank you,
Man of leisure is Ian. Rewatch the whole game.
I wish I'd have had time to watch it.
I
didn't watch it once.
Highlights. Killing me.
Brand says, evening, Jim. Predicted a loss for this one, but my God, did they prove me wrong. Dominant from start to finish. Piling game time on Peck this early might be a blessing in disguise. What a performance. Yeah, agreed. It's sort of fast-tracked him on it, I suppose. It's been a hard grind for him, but it's fast-tracked him. Abdullah, good evening, pal. What a difference a few days can make. Nervous before the game, but we were a joy to watch. Yeah, Boro were bad, but Blades rattled them early. Hope we can stay consistent now and get the job done. Up the Ramble. Top man. Chris says, evening, Jim and Ramblers. I'm still buzzing from last night. Him a man of the match, but the pass from Peck, absolutely top draw. It does give me a little more belief we can get something from Leeds. Up the Blades. Up all the Rambles. Please like and subscribe. Beast Boy says, where was Cannon all game? Didn't even realise he was playing. Beast Boy. Under 3 goals and assists in 10 games, Jimmy. I'm telling you, Jimmy. Listen, I'm not going to... It's not a game to go back and forth, Beast Boy, with this. But I've got plenty of ammunition if you want to go down that road in the future. Positive Jack says, kind of makes you wonder why we haven't been playing like this before. Confidence, maybe. Whatever they did in training, can we have more? Pretty, please. Liam says, what a result. Just like we needed, Jim. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, up behind the Ramble. Thank you, pal. Ian says, Beast Boy, give Cannon a chance. You'd hate it if comments like that were aimed at our boy Brewster, the voice of reason from the gatekeeper. Well said. Rossi Blade says, great performance last night, Jimmy. Well worth freezing my gay peanuts off. A very good all-round team. Masterclass. Shame about that, ref. Like and subscribe, up all the Rambles. Very professional, Jimmy. You're a natural. Thanks, Rossi. And I can tell you that I'm still on the comments that came before I went live and proved that I wasn't very professional when I couldn't get all the stuff up. So there you go. But thank you very much anyway. Paul Rose of Wellstoned Landscapes up there above Mr. Mountain's head. No. Yep. Thank you very much. Yeah. Seen him today. Hope you're well, pal. Cracking result last night to keep the pressure on the rest of the teams. People need to get off Cannon's back and let him have an actual chance to settle into things. My dad, I have to say, my dad was saying, Cannon subbed at half time. Do you think Wilder's blaming him for that first half? I said, what do you mean that first half? We were brilliant. Do you think Wilder's blaming him? Anyway, he comes round with boot on, doesn't he? I'm saying, there you go. That's why he were off at half time. And obviously, we found out later he'd rolled his ankle. I bet he's just put it on. I bet he's putting it on just to give us a boot, lads. That'll be an excuse for me. Give us a boot. He was joking, obviously. But that's what my father's like. So there you go. No other team has scored more points than us or won more games than us. Yeah, true. If we keep playing like yesterday, I can see that record staying until the end of the season. We were very good. We were Bladesmen. We were very good. Very impressed with the whole team. Wouldn't be a game without a Robbo mistake, but I thought he played well, said Harry. Gus and Raksaki were magic, subs scoring again. Nige says, evening, pal. Hope you're well. No complaint apart from the ref. And for me, I'm fine with conceding the penalty, but it's got to be the same at the other end. How Edmondson didn't get a red for 2 offences. I know. Shocking. Evening, Jimmy says, Dan, still buzzing after last night. Hope it's a sign of what's to come. Keep up the good work. Up the full-time ramble. Up the Blades. Like and subscribe. Thank you, pal. Ohio Blade says, the first 30 minutes were the best I have seen us play in more than 2 seasons. Dave the Nose was loving it in our chat, weren't he? That is the best. He said same. Best he's seen us play in ages. Peck was unbelievable. And I truly hope CW doesn't go back to 2 defensive midfielders in the midfield again. Thanks for all you do, Jimmy. Thank you for being part of it, pal. Nick Cook, Ramble Royalty, says, it was such a good watch last night. Right chuff with the performance. It's put me in good spirits for the rest of the week. It's brilliant, isn't it? It's amazing. Look forward to Saturday. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. It's amazing how you football. And people, we've said this before, but people that aren't into the game, people that aren't fans of football clubs will sometimes look at you a bit off. Like, Mrs. Ramble is not into the beautiful game at all. She doesn't like football. She loves what it does for me and my mental health, but she doesn't understand how it affects me in terms of how can I get so up when things are going well, and how can I get so down when things aren't going great? And obviously, it's something we all try and manage, and we try and come on here when things aren't going well and boosting people up. But it does really affect some people. I know some people in our chat last season were really quite low, and it's important to be a part of an uplifting community, I think, in terms of we're all looking after each other, aren't we, to a degree? So football is huge to a lot of people, and now is the time to enjoy it, like Nick's saying. That a performance like that changes your whole mood for a week, doesn't it? We're all coming on, we're all smiling, we're all laughing. It's great.
But fair play, right? And I don't often do this, Jim. When we were coming on this channel initially, and you were, growing the channel quite substantially and making it what it is now, we were going through the most miserable season in the world. I was like,
that's true.
Well, mate. But you have no idea, like you're talking about your mental health, what that does for everybody else. I'm the same. I got up this morning, I woke up, and I was just like, oh, yeah, that was great last night. And it's the first thing I thought about, and looking forward to coming on tonight. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Speaking about it with you lot. And just remember, we've been through the hard times. We deserve this performance, and we deserve this phone-in, because actually we've had it out. I mean, it's not as look at us where we are. We're not in as bad a position as the vast majority of the football teams in the Football League. But last season was probably the worst season of my football.
Yeah.
I can't remember a worse season, but you end up trying to write it off, don't you? You end up just
by Christmas we were writing it off, weren't we? November, end of season.
Don't matter, everyone. Don't matter.
Yeah.
We'll be all right next year. Don't worry. And we went through that together, and we deserve what we're getting now. Definitely deserve it.
Yeah, and the fact that it seemed to all come together last night is such a boost, isn't it? It's so uplifting for us all. Right, I'm going to bring in our next caller, or callers now, who've been waiting a long time, so I apologise for the wait. But speaking of YouTube stars, it's Ricky and the main man, Marcus. How's it going, boys?
You all right?
Yes, mate. Are you? So
yeah,
these boys are from the Just United YouTube channel. Very new. In fact, probably the newest. Surely there's not many younger than you boys in terms of age of channel. Talk to us about your new venture, pal.
Oh, good.
I'm glad you think so, Marcus.
That's a shot of the dynamic, isn't it? It's it's the little questions that, mate. The best part of it is when you ask him a question, you're just looking like that. And yeah, it's brilliant.
He's a smart operator, is Ricky, though. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
get the kids on. He knows.
You know.
I've got to try and win him over, Jamie. Apparently, he don't like agreeing with me, so that's all right. we had a little tete-a-tete in the group, didn't we?
No. You know what it is? I thought Armour should have started out right, and you were adamant, no, Saki, but props to you. I'll take my hat off.
Did you say Gus on right and then Brereton Diaz on left? Is that how you
Yeah.
wanted to start?
Yeah.
Okay, it makes sense. It makes sense. But obviously, last night proved it were right decision to go with what he did. So
It proved that I was right all along, didn't it?
All right, okay.
yeah, you sound like a Leeds fan. Anyway, boys, what do you want to talk about from last night's game? What's the first thing you want to cover?
Mate, it just looked rejuvenated.
So good, weren't it?
We looked fresh, and first time in a long time where we looked fresh.
Yeah. Yeah, we attacked them though, didn't we? We went for the jugular straight away. It was, you could see there'd been a clear instruction, not no passing backwards, but cut out all those backwards passes, those sideways passes, go forward. And that was the intent, weren't it?
I think we've had to adapt style because when we had Suter, he could play them long balls, couldn't he? He could play it out from back. I don't think Robbo or Anel's got that capability. I mean, Robbo can do a decent cross now and again, nice little ping now and again, but it don't always work out for him. Nah, we're doing where we're supposed to be doing it. We're playing it from middle. We're not playing it from back. We look good. I mean, like, and it's hard to say that. I'm hoping that's the point where now we kick on. This is part where we do up our levels, where we are going for it.
Yeah, I hope so too. We've always known, and again, I can't remember which pod I were on today that I was saying this, but we've always known that we've had the quality. And for a little while, I think we've been relying on individual quality to sort of win us games, if you like. And it's been working just by skin of his teeth. We ended up hanging on in some games, but it'll be a bit of brilliance from Gus, or it'll be something that Callum O'Hare creates out of nowhere and slides in Ty Campbell. But last night, it was like it all came together. It was like not only brilliant individuals, on the day, but a fantastic team effort.
Yeah.
They were playing in sync with each other. They looked like they were, a purpose to what we were doing. It was so good. I want to ask the main man, though. I want to ask Marcus, who were your favourite player last night, pal?
Sydie Peck.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the correct answer. I mean, it's an opinion, so some people might disagree with you, pal, but I don't disagree. I think it was absolutely outstanding. And what you've got to think about Sydie Peck is, Man Mountain's touched on it a little bit as well, he's keeping out some really good players now. He's keeping out Hamza Chowdhury, who's coming as a bit of a statement signing on loan because he's not on a little bit of money, he's on a lot of money. Tom Davis, who I appreciate has just come back from injury, but he will be in the mix now. But Sydie Peck will keep that shirt for the next game. If he's fit, Sydie Peck will keep that shirt because it was outstanding yesterday. Really, really good. Would you mix it up then, Rick, before Luton at weekend?
Yeah, I'd start Davis, to be honest with you. Just for the fact I saw Sydie cramping towards the later end of the game.
Okay.
And then look how worn out he got after the last few games, playing games after game after game. I think you need to manage his minutes a bit better than what we were doing. I mean, we had no option last time.
No, we didn't.
We have got options.
Do you reckon Davis has got to start in the tank, Ricky? He hasn't played for him.
And I know, but manage it. You just manage his time, get him to play to half time at least. Do you know what I mean? I don't think you can be starting Sydie again. It's not the fact that he played bad because we all know he didn't. It's managing his minutes. I don't want to overdo him again.
I understand that. I think normally I would 100% agree normally with the Wednesday to Saturday turnaround. But the fact that we've got 9 days to Leeds, I think it just opens up different options. You could ask him to go one more time, couldn't you? Because he's going to have an extended break. But it's whether you want to take that risk, because if he's say 90% fit, and we've already got somebody like Hamza who's chomping at bit to play, and Tom Davis is fit to play, then you've got good options, haven't you, to replace him with. So this is the difference now with the January window that we've had. Before, it were a case of we played Tom Davis and Sydie Peck until we had nobody else. We ended up with Harrison Burrows in there. So we had Ryan O'Neill up front one game and Harrison Burrows in centre midfield. It's night and day, innit? It's absolute night and day to what we're doing now. So has Brereton Diaz done enough to earn a start?
I don't think he's fully fit yet, mate.
Don't you?
Not yet, no.
Okay.
But it did look a lot better when he went on left. Yeah, it looked a lot better when he went on left than he did on right.
Yeah, I agree.
One thing I would like to highlight, though, Armour. I know he was playing on left, but he kept on dropping into that midfield role, and doing them long passes. It was good. It was nice to see. Do you know what I mean? He weren't just fixed on that one position. He was dropping a lot deeper than what he normally does.
It were nice to see, and it were a little bit. There were a little bit of what's the word? There were a little bit of rhythm between the team because you'd see when somebody went forward, somebody else would drop in and cover.
Just like Sousa were doing that for Anel and that.
That's right. That's right. Really good. Anel. I thought Anel was superb yesterday as well.
Best game he's played in a long time.
Yeah, it was.
Long time. He looked confident again. Like he trusted Robbo, and it were hard to say, but it looked like he trusted him again.
It did. Okay, nice one. Any other points you lads want to make before
yeah, I know ref had a bad game, but I think we needed that because it lit a fire. Alt fans, mate. It made it fortress again. It was loudest it's been in years.
It kicked it up a couple of gears, didn't it? It sort of made us feel like we'd been wronged, and we wanted to get. And as I said before, the players playing as well as they did always helps because we were going to back them anyway. But the fact that we felt like we were hard done by from referee and it were unfair, it made it even more vociferous in ground, innit? Crowd wanted to get behind the team, make sure we roared them to victory and stuff, and it were really good atmosphere yesterday.
Well, Wilder said it though, hasn't he? He said it. What does it take to be a Sheffield United player? And like we said on Saturday, Robbo's tackle at the end, loudest cheer of the lot, because that's what we want to see. But when he says the players have got to get the fans off the seat, it's all right going, oh yeah, the fans are quiet. The players have got to give us something to go for. Do you know what I mean? They've got to give us something to shout about, whether that's tackle, whether that's endeavour, whether that's taking chance. That's what United fans want to see. And like you say, when they do that, look at the response. You know, there was 27,000, lowest attendance for a few, because it's a Wednesday night, obviously, for a while. It's on the Sky. But the most noise, and just goes to show you give us something to shout about, we'll make a bloody noise. You know, you can guarantee that.
We looked focused as well. I mean, like proper locked in. It's like usually it's like you get players wondering about a little bit. Do you know what I mean? But everyone, it's like they all knew the job and what they were doing, what they were
really good, wasn't it? Really good,
amazing, mate.
Right, boys. Thank you for joining us. For those that aren't aware, make sure you check out their YouTube channel, Just United on YouTube, a growing channel. It's only about a week and a half old, isn't it? I think, mate. How old?
4 videos in, pal.
Mate, you're grinding. I can say that for sure. So,
Marcus wants to show you something before we go. He debuted it at game.
Go on.
Yeah,
got it on his scarf.
Go on, lad. Love that. Love that.
Well, I've just United badges in no time, Rick. I'm sure.
Yeah, one day, maybe.
Nice one, boys. Thank you for joining us, and we'll catch up with you soon.
See you later.
Cheers, boys. Nice one. Always good to hear from Ricky and Marcus of the Just United YouTube channel. Ray says, more or less everything has been said, but what a performance. Sorry about that, Ray. but what a performance that was last night. If you could bottle everything of being a Blade, well, that performance summed it up perfectly. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, up behind the Ramble. Like and subscribe. Luke Booth says, what a performance. Borough had no chance last night. We dominated. Bring on Luton, up the Blades, up the Ramble. Evening Jimmy says, Dublin Blade, just finished watching Battle Lines. Another great show between you two. He said that about Karma on Connor's show. I thought Borough would be better. I think Carrick is on thin ice. I agree. I think it were a bit eye-opening for me, Paul, to see just how poor Borough were. I thought they'd come with a lot more than that. I'm not taking anything away from our performance because I thought we were superb as well. And maybe put them on back foot from start. But I were expecting more out of a Carrick Borough side. I thought Iheanacho looked about half a stone overweight and nowhere near at the races, to be honest. What did you think to their performance?
What, Iheanacho and Borough? I thought Iheanacho looked like a guy who hadn't been playing a lot. And I think that's where he got to at Leicester a little bit. The Leicester fans weren't enamored with what he was bringing to the table. And because when he comes over from City, I think he was there to play at Leicester, wasn't he? And he never really established himself as a goal scoring player for them. So I wasn't too shocked by what he brought. He's got, I don't think he's a goal scorer. I don't think he's ever recorded any really good numbers at any point.
He comes with a big reputation, doesn't he? That's the thing. I think people see that he's an ex-Man City lad, went for big money to Leicester, and you think, oh no, he's now been picked up by Borough in this league. He could do some damage, but he didn't look anywhere near it, I didn't think, last night.
No, like you say, he looked like a heavier than he was when he played before. I know he had a hat trick against us when he played for Leicester, because I mentioned that last night. But It's technically he's decent, and I guess when they get him up to speed, he's going to be useful. But
that's right, it will.
Do we think Borough met the playoffs? Because
they'll struggle at minute. They'll struggle on them sort of performances. They'll really struggle.
I think us as United fans have seen them play well. So we've seen Middlesbrough play well, and therefore in the build up to it, we thought, oh, hang on, these lot show up. They're a really good, really strong side. Doak's their best player. There's no doubt about that. Bergson played well last night, but it just, like you said, it didn't really look like a team that has been playing together. Who's the lad in midfield they were banging on about? Hackney.
Hayden Hackney, yeah.
Yeah, I think he flattered to deceive yesterday. I think he lost his battle in the middle there. They were all
it didn't really impact the game like I thought he could have done. I thought he looked neat and tidy, but he didn't really have that impact that you'd expect from such a well-spoken of player.
Yeah,
really.
he came with a bit of fanfare, didn't he?
Yeah.
I don't think he really showed us anything that was. I mean, it's difficult. I mean, like you say, I don't think they were at the races really, because they didn't. I don't know if we just didn't let them get to the races, because I just thought we were levels above them on the night. So it's hard to know sometimes, isn't it? But no,
my dad was saying about that in the Iheanacho performance that he reminded him a little, not of the performance per se, but just the whole feeling around it. It reminded him of when Campbell came into Sheffield United, because he were half a stone overweight at the time. He hadn't had a pre-season. He'd obviously had terrible personal news with losing his dad, and he needed to get up to speed. So first couple of performances, and people will rightly forget about this because, he's coming to such great form recently. But he struggled to make an impact, really. First off, he were off the pace a little bit. He came back, got fit. I don't know whether it were an international break or just intense training that got him back up to the right level. And he's been great ever since. So
he had a bit of dunk in the didn't he, when he first arrived? I thought
he did. Yeah,
he did. He looked like he reminded me a bit of his old man, to be honest.
Yes,
he was always a stocky built player, wasn't he, and a strong player and stuff.
Big backside.
Did you see one of the recovery runs he made last night?
Yeah, I did. All the way down to left back. Unbelievable.
Mate, he took over about 4 people. He was the fastest man on our team, without a doubt.
Honestly, he got back so far that the attacking right winger had to turn back, and it allowed the whole team to get back in shape, defensive shape. I thought that is superb. Absolutely superb. Martin says, off topic, but every time I see your intro and George Baldock, I feel so sad, and we miss him so much. How good would he be in this side? He would be brilliant in this side, Martin. And it's certainly not there to upset anybody. I apologise if it does upset you, but he deserves to be in, doesn't it? He deserves to be remembered, and we will always remember George Baldock. He was a fantastic player. He was my favourite player. And he's in the intro, and likely in the intro to stay, because what a huge part of our club he is. He's a huge part of our club. Cowboy Paul Young says, I know some are only joking, but we need to stop making Cannon our new scapegoat. He's a blade and he puts that shirt on. He wears the badge. Let's help him make him the player Wilder knows he will become up the Ramble. Very positive from Tex. I love that. I absolutely agree. Look at that profile picture as well. He's going for your title, I think. I think he wants your title of Housewife's favourite. Look at that.
Hey, this title.
Smoothie. Martin, evening, Jimmy. Best game by far. The Leeds game is going to be massive. Thing is, Martin, my thoughts on that, and I'll let you have a quick say on it as well, Paul. But the Leeds game, I'm focusing on Luton first and foremost, which we all are, and I know that. If we play anything like we did last night against Luton, we'll beat Luton, and then I'll be confident going into the Leeds game. Not confident we'll turn them over, but I'm confident that we'll go and we'll have a real go at each other, really. So I don't want to think about Leeds just yet, because if we're going to Luton and we're back to a Portsmouth performance, then we'll be dreading Leeds, won't we? But let's go into Luton this weekend, riding that wave of momentum and playing anything like we played last night, and we're taking all 3 points back, and we're top of the league because they don't play till Monday. Any thoughts on that, Pablo?
Yeah, I mean, all I want is to play. We won't replicate that kind of performance every single match. It's not possible. But what we will do is, if it'll give us so much more confidence, the players off the bench and the players on the pitch know that we can produce that type of performance. I'm not saying it was grand. It was great. And all I want against Leeds is to show up and play our game the way that we can on our own turf and see what happens. Because if we play like that, there's no doubt in my head. They are not invincible at all, and we are.
I agree, mate. I agree.
Have very much got threat all over the field, and again,
don't get it twisted. We all want to win that game. We certainly don't want to lose that game. But if it turns out to be a 5-4 Fulham performance, if we all remember that, where every player left everything out on the pitch and we just weren't good enough on the night, they beat us, then you hold your hands up, don't you? And you say, fair play. You've outplayed us just on the night, but we've given everything and it could have gone either way. You take that. As long as they leave everything out there, don't you?
To coin a wilder phrase, we leave by the front door, not the back door.
Correct. Watching on the big TV, Jimmy says, Pixie, how good was that? Even Super Jack had a good game. Never a pen. Peck, what a pass. Absolutely right. Mike says, Peck's gone from 0 apps in men's game to a very good championship player in the space of a few months. Yeah, that's a good summary, to be fair. He has. Key says, thought the subs changed the game again for us to see us over the line. And how much is Sydie the man worth now? If you got an offer for Sydie Peck, Paul, what would it take for you to entertain it?
Right, well, that offer's not going to come until the end of the year, no matter what. So
agreed.
I'm going to use that stipulation with it because we've seen good performances from Peck. We've seen his best performance in the last game. I want that to be the springboard for 10 to 15 performances of a similar ilk, because that's what we need. That's what we want. We want consistency. The difference between the best players in this league and not the ones that do it on one game out of 5. It's 4 games out of 5, and it's more consistent. I'm hoping that we've seen something from Sydie in that last game that will springboard his career and springboard him into our team. Because if we're going to go to the Premier League, he's going to have to play like that to get a sniff.
Yeah, he is.
He's going to have to get anywhere near it. So what I hope is that he can string together 10 good performances now.
Okay. Fair, very fair.
And then I'll answer your question, because in today's market, what's
right, you ducked
I think
it.
right now, if someone offered us 10 million, we'd snap their hand off. I think.
No, I don't.
I think we would. I think if he puts together a string of performance, you're reacting on the back of one performance. Before last night,
no, he's had an upside all season, hasn't he?
Okay, yeah, decent. He's been decent, right? But before last night's performance, if someone came in with 10 mil, you'd be like, well, yeah, go on then.
No, I don't think we would. We would.
Well, I'm telling you, if he does that again and again and again and again, we're talking double, triple. So that's what I think.
Look at you bringing me back down to earth. Chris says, not match related, but how did Hecky Out Sal get a name? It is as simple as it is on the tin, Chris, to be honest. She was a huge Hecky Out girl, and it's nothing personal against Hecky at all. She just did not rate him certainly as a Premier League manager at the time. She thought he had a very good squad that he did an okay job with to get out of the division. And I don't mean to speak for Hecky Out Sal, but she'll probably never come on the channel to say this. And it's my Aunt Sal, for anybody that it's Andy the Blade's sister that comes to all the games with us. And yes, she was not a fan of Paul Eckingbottom, and it's stuck. My dad's trying to make it into Brewster Out Sal now and scapegoat her for other little things that she's said on the odd occasion. But it's Hecky Out Sal and forever will be. But I am an hour and a quarter behind in the comments, and we've got just over 5 minutes left. So I'm going to skip to some names that haven't had the comments read. So, and apologies if I miss anybody's. But Man Mountain was correct. Risk and reward last night, says Tommy. Worked like a dream up the Blades. Jimmy says, so true, Martin. Said the same, only today. Baldock could be a 15 to 20 million pound player right now. Still a big, big miss up the Blades, up the full-time Ramble. Mike says, Mountain, so nice to hear you properly. Top banana. There you go. It's working a dream, that microphone. He loves it. Fatty Folk says, Susan was immense, never misses a beat. John D says, Borough were terrible. We actually got into third gear for once and played with freedom, panache and stuff. Oh, love a bit of panache. I didn't know Peck was our player. Always had it in my head. He was on loan. What a prospect. Absolutely. He was one of those. Prince Abdullah implemented a strategy where you would buy a loan prospect before they became known. So you'd be looking at 15, 16-year-olds, maybe 17, rather than a really strong and probably more expensive 18, 19-year-old. So we did a lot of work, a groundwork with those sort of players, which is how we source a lot of these players into our academy. Will Asula were brought in the same way. Joe Gibson says, best we've played in months. That has to carry on. O'Hare in the 10 is what we needed to like us all together. Heyman's way too good for this league. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Will says O'Hare is fantastic. He certainly is. Matthew says it's 300-mile round trip for me to get to home games. Haven't missed one so far, and that performance made it worth the trip for the first time in a while. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Well done, Matt. That is huge commitment. I know other people will do similar trips, but that is some going, that, mate. Well done, pal. Cooler King says, watching that as a neutral, it was like seeing a team reborn. Oh, it's music to me ears, Cooler. Blades were very impressive, and Borough, who are a good side, just couldn't live with you. It's about keeping to those levels now, isn't it, Cooler King? That's what it's about. Jake says Robbo does it 90% of the time, and he's felt so lucky that it's never been pulled. But I do think it wasn't a penalty last night, as they were both at it. Yeah, I'm conscious that I often jump on this, on him, so I'm trying not to be too aggressive with it, but just don't give him a decision to make. Yeah, and yes, he's being pulled. He's having his shirt pulled himself. It's 6 of one, half dozen other. I think Edmondson's a worse offender than Robinson in that incident, but don't give him a decision to make, especially when he's been as poor as he had been. Jimmy, this system which Sheffield United are recruiting players, the AI system, is that similar to our Brighton and Brentford recruit using algorithms? It's the same idea, yeah. It won't be the same method exactly because they've got a lot more finance to pump into it, and a lot of their foundations are built around their owners. I think, for instance, the Brentford owner owns like a data system or something like that, or some sort of innovation company that deals with AI, something like that. So Will says, do you feel both Anel and Robbo want a change? It can't be easy having a record-breakingly bad season with someone, then back together again next season. Yeah, maybe so. I played a lot last night and we beat Leeds a week on Monday, says Action Location. And Diao says correct. Chef Steele says, what a week. One of our. Sheila's Wheel says, I read up on the ref. Matt Donoghue, the latest addition to the Premier League referee list, was very poor last night. Great performance from the team. Peck is becoming a very special player. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. Greystone's Garden says, BBD was yards behind him. Not in his eye line in that position as a striker. You have to be focused on the goal. Action Location says Cooper, future England's #1. I completely agree. Completely agree. Dave the Nose, he really knows, says, evening, boys. Looking forward to catching up. What a great performance. Our best in so long. Squad in fine fettle and ready to win it all. Let's go. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Love that. Confident Dave the Nose. Does he really know? Does he really know? That is the ultimate test. What a week gone from our worst performance of the season to our best performance. We needed the confidence boost for the Leeds match. I agree. Just Luton to go into it, really. Craig says, best performance of the season, first half. I thought first 30 minutes were absolutely outstanding. David says, Warnock raving over Super Cooper, saying he phoned 3 or 5 Premier League managers to say, sign this man. Thankfully, they all ignored him. Yeah, absolutely right. I wouldn't be surprised if he's doing it now, to be honest. Michael Fisher said, never been a Blade. Michael Fisher says, Peck and Arblaster, yeah, I'll say it. Peck and Arblaster are the future of the Blades midfield for years to come if we can keep them, and it would be a big if. That's Premier League football, innit? That's what we need for that to be a possibility, Michael, I think. And obviously, we're leaving out Vinny, who's absolutely incredible. So Ben says, great performance last night. Wilder must have really got into him after Portsmouth. Has anyone else noticed that Jack Clark looks like a fun-sized Channing Tatum? Do you mean Harry Clark? But yes. good shout, that, to be fair. I'd not seen it until you mentioned it. Andrew says, thought we were fantastic in the first half. Huge improvement. Can Luton beat us if we play like that on Saturday? No, they can't. Do you think they can beat us, Paul, if we play like that on Saturday?
Not if we play like that. We should have, yeah.
They can't beat us. I'm not saying they can't beat us. The question is if they play like that.
There's not a lot of evidence, is there? They're nowhere near where they were last season or the season they got promoted at the moment. So it'd be a bit of a miracle. If we play like that again, we'll score 3 or 4 goals, and that'll be that. It'll be it.
Riff says, on one of the preseason videos, I was talking up Peck, and remember you saying players don't always step up. In my wildest dreams, I couldn't have imagined his impact. He's been brilliant, hasn't he? Andrew says, Anel raised his game last night, proving he can play alongside Robbo. Robbo was solid as ever with another 7 out of 10 performance. His shirt to lose. Up the Ramble, up the Blades. What a pass from Sid, says Paul. Absolutely right. Big Tone says, Jimmy, Thursday night darts night, but time are you in tomorrow? What time are you on tomorrow? If he's doing a press conference, hot off the presser will be straight after the presser, really. So if he's on at 9, we'll be on probably around past. If he's on at 9:30, we'll be on around 10 o'clock. So I'm assuming that's what's going to be happening tomorrow. I'd have to check the schedule for the rest. Peck 10-year contract, whatever terms he wants, says Josh. Love that. Riff says, still think Peck's ability to find space, but makes him better player further forward. What a player. What a player. Ian the Gatekeeper says, Jimmy going to change his team for Luton just to prove Man Mountain. I'm not. I am not. You are going to get this. In fact, I've already scheduled it to go out as its own video at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. Just the team. So you'll see that before the rest of the warm-up, which the warm-up will be around 12 o'clock tomorrow, I think. That's what we've penciled in. So we'll have a hot off the presser in the morning. We'll have the warm-up at 12 o'clock. We're on twice tomorrow. Live. Liam says,
what about for us working men? Come on.
Well, I'm sorry about that.
12 o'clock.
I'm sorry, but I'm unemployed, so I can come on whenever I want. Liam says, Sydie doesn't need the armband yet. Anel struggle with the weight of being captain, admittedly with off-field things going on. That's true. It can also have a negative effect as well. Absolutely right. What do you think think is the way to get the best out of Cannon, says Jake? I'm going to refer that to you, pal.
Well, I saw Cannon was a bit gutted with himself because there was a ball that got flashed across the box.
Yes,
behind the defender. And I saw him being like, you could tell he was annoyed with himself.
Sloughened, weren't he? A bit sloughened about it.
Yeah, he was annoyed. He knew he should have been there. And that's again how he's going to get his goals. That would be the one thing that if I had one criticism, and it would be a very, very, like, in the circumstances, tricky one to get by. But we played a lot of good stuff in wide areas. There was a lot of like 1 and 2 touch passing in wide areas with Vinny and bloody Hamer and O'Hare and Burrows, and they're all joining in down that left hand side. And I looked up in the box, and it was Tom Cannon, and I was like, right,
yes.
When the ball goes in, you've got to commit men forward. Whenever I watch the analysis of Match of the Day or on Sky, what the teams that are surprising teams like Bournemouth, like Brentford, and these two teams that have come from nowhere and doing well, one thing I see them doing a lot is they highlight the squad of players that descend upon that penalty spot and the back post, etc. You've got to be in it to win it. And having 3 guys stood there playing looks brilliant. Everyone's like, way, and they're confident and they're knocking the ball about. I'd rather have 2 of them stood round the back post or one running across the front or whatever, because that's where the goal's going in. So
absolutely right.
That is the one thing I would say. I think Diaz does that to it.
He does.
He's on the move in the box. Cannon's got to learn. If he's going to be successful in this team, he's got to be the man on the end of that ball. And I think that's something that I've been a little bit disappointed with Kiefer Moore since he signed, because a lot of his highlight reel and a lot of what I've seen before is him arriving on balls in the box and finishing those balls off. And I think Cannon will need to do the same thing if he's going to be successful in this team. I think he shows that he's willing, but that run that he didn't make, he knew he should have made it, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's why he was disappointed with himself, isn't it? Because he'd not read the play.
And that's how he's going to score. Sorry. Yeah.
No, it's all right, buddy. It's all right. Divano says, I'd like to see Hackney under Wilder management. And Rhodesy says, Hackney will be on my wish list if we go up for sure. David says, Marty Great's new Sydie Peck poster. That one up. Oh, you can't see it because it's against the wall, but I've got one. Sydie Peck poster is awesome. Got to get one ASAP. You know what to do, David. BLADESRAMBLE at the checkout. Get a free poster for yourself as well. He knows where you've come from then. David Vinter says, Peck, Hamer and Raksaki top class. Sublime pass from Peck to BBD. Top finish. Hope Hamer is okay with him going off last night. Bring on Luton and Leeds. Up the Blades. Up the full-time Ramble. Right, let's get through some of these comments because I am still an hour behind and I am into injury time. Kyle says, that performance was breathtaking. Could have been the 5-0 everyone has said we were due. Had things gone our way. O'Hare was everywhere. Hamer was showing his class. Peck solid. Subs wonderful. Well said, mate. Completely agree. Chris says, hi, Jimmy and Man Mountain. How much do you think Peck is worth in these performances? Well, I asked Man Mountain that. He dodged the question. Brilliant show, by the way. Thank you, pal. Appreciate your support. I try and give you value when you're asking questions. But
I said 10, and I said double or triple if you can have another.
I'm only playing. You don't have to bite.
Well, I will.
Jake says Hamer's pass with the outside of his foot. Wow, he's just unbelievably technically gifted, unbelievable. Lee says in the last 1.5 games, Sydie Peck has driven our team forward with positive passing and relentless energy, whilst always being willing to do the dirty work. He's everything a Blades player should be. Lee, top man, who's also been one of our Ramble on the Roaders. Appreciate you, pal. HM says it'll be interesting to hear what Dermot Gallagher's view is on the penalty. Yes, agreed. He'll justify it somehow, won't he?
Did you clock Lee's little picture on his? I know you're trying to rush. Did you clock Lee's little tag picture? Have you seen it?
No, is it?
Looks like a Viking or something.
Oh, it is, yeah.
How good is that?
All right. I didn't know whether there were an inside joke. I weren't getting there at all.
Like, no, mate. Have you seen it? Have you seen him in his outfit?
Yeah. Oh, is that? No, it's not him. That's not him.
I bet it is.
No, it's not. It's not. That's not him. I'll tell you what, he'll take that, I think. I don't know. We'll see. Brian says, evening, Jimmy Man Mountain, fellow Blades. Been having a look at some of Borough's vlogs, and they are well miffed. One of them thought they would do us 4-0 and then complain non-stop after. GT Blade, lovely to meet you, pal, yesterday. I said before the game that we need to be on the front foot and play with tempo. Guess what? We played on the front foot and with tempo, and look at the results. Up the Blades. GT Blade for the dugout. Love that. Love that. Dom says, evening, Jimmy. Cannon and Moore, both injured now. He's got to start Campbell against Luton. Yeah. I think Moore's back for Luton. Obviously, Cannon were a precaution, but it's likely he'll miss Luton. I'd rest Hamer against Luton and keep him fresh for Leeds. Play Brereton, Diaz, O'Hare and Raksaki. It's not a bad replacement, is it? O'Hare's our best player. It's Brian Blessed in Flash, says Lee. He's messaged us. He says, cheers for that. So there you go. Oh, dearie me. Kieran did a cracking job with Ramble on the Road, says Brian. Up the Blades, up the Ramble, up behind the Ramble, and up Ramble on the Road. It's been a really positive reaction to that addition to the channel, aren't they, pal? Everybody sort of seems to enjoy it. So long may it continue. Long may it continue. You're going to get on board with that, Mr. Mountain? You're going to do us a Ramble on the Road? You and the Ronster?
Mate, I'll do whatever, I will. I just want everyone to have a go. Do you know what I mean? I don't
Absolutely
always.
Right. It's great, isn't it, when you see new faces as well?
Yeah, I'm on a fair bit, aren't I? But it's
It's what the people want, mate. It's what the people want. So
I've no qualms with it, mate. You know me. I'll do whatever you ask me to.
Thank you. Oh, thank you, mate. Thank you. Gustavo Hamer running down the wing. Yeah, within reason. Leaky Lloyd says, good result and definitely a lot better, but I wouldn't get too carried away. Borough were diabolical, and we still ball watch too much when teams run at us. 2 or 3 shadowing, but no tackles going in. Interesting take that. David says, I think the issues, it's 10 that was missing for the Portsmouth game. Not Hamza and Vinny. It's the 10. All right, the 10, yeah. Hamza and Vinny playing together. We need 2 6s when we play Leeds. Interesting. Louis says, would you rather Leeds win and we break further away, or Sunderland win and close the gap? I want Sunderland to win. But it's one of those games where we can't lose. It's a little bit like the Leeds-Burnley game. Somebody's going to drop points. So if Sunderland win, then they only stay behind. Hopefully, we're obviously assuming that we beat Luton, and that's a huge assumption. But let's hope we beat Luton. Then we are 8 points clear of Sunderland, I think. So if they win, they just move back to 5 points behind us and pull Leeds down a little bit. If Leeds win, Sunderland stays 8 points behind us, and probably, according to Connor on the One Leeds fan channel, they are going to knock Sunderland out of the automatic promotion race. So there you go. Interesting. Matt says, so good to see O'Hare finally getting his props. He's like McGoldrick. He might not score a lot, but he brings everything and everyone around him together, and nobody works harder. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Yeah, nobody does work harder, to be fair. Ben says, great performance last night. Wilder must have really got into them after Portsmouth. I've read that, haven't I? Apologies. Marco says, thanks for having me on again, chaps. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Don't know what that last one is. Michael says, Jimmy, has Connor got split personalities on One Leeds and his other fan channel and his other channel? He behaves very differently. He says one thing on One Leeds, but as a complete, I've been absolutely rinsing him about that, Michael, because I completely agree. Bean says, I think we have nailed on starting 10, 9 maybe if Robinson isn't nailed. Just who plays up top? Cannon isn't doing enough for me. He just doesn't touch the ball and get involved enough. BBD up top maybe. Dino, so would you? It's Campbell for you, isn't it, Paul?
Oh yeah,
Campbell.
yeah.
Yeah.
For me,
No point
he's proved it all. Yeah, if he's fit, he should start for me.
Agreed. Dino says, just got in from the daughters, and even the Dingle husband of hers admitted we were good. Starting to come together now up the blades, up the the Dingle husband. Nice. Danny says, evening lads and lasses. Well chuffed with last night's win. We have to be looking at absolutely hammering someone soon, surely. Up the blades, up the ramble, up behind the ramble, up full-time ramble. Like and subscribe. More positive performances like that, please. Blades. Yes, Ricky, says Max. Loving that Ricky's been back on the ramble. Love that. So where are we now? Yeah, it's not Ricky. It's just United. All right. So come on, let's get his branding right. Nate says, hi, Jimmy. Just finished watching Battle Lines and it was great as usual. Thank you, pal. Battle Lines, for those that aren't aware, is a show that we do over on the One Leeds fan channel. So Connor, my Leeds mate, has invited us over there. And it's good exposure for our channel as well. Because there's been a lot of Leeds fans come over since we've started collaborating. So it's been a good working relation. And I enjoy doing that show. It's really good, really good. It's just a bit of friendly banter. I appreciate it. Your kind words, pal. I will bring BBD in for Hamer and rest him for Leeds, bringing Campbell for Cannon, who rolled his ankle, and bringing Holding for Robbo, who is a liability waiting to happen. Okay. Just United, change your handle in the settings, something like Just United 1889, then youtube.com, Just United 1889. If you can, Just United, and Bry as well, if you can link in with Paul from PN UK, he was and continues to be a huge help in terms of advice and how to get your name out there on YouTube and stuff. So thank you, Paul. Paolo Nutini says, feel like we can give any team a game after that performance last night. Feels like the team is starting to properly gel now. Steve Baker says, well done to Kieran on Ramble on the Road. I'm his dad and very proud. Love that. Up the Blaze, up the Ramble, like and subscribe. Thank you, Steve. And so you should be very proud as well. He should be proud of himself. I thought he did a really good job.
He came across brilliantly. It feels like he's one of the nicest people I've ever seen.
Yeah,
honestly, he's like, oh, this lad's a nice kid.
I know. Yeah. Too nice to be associating with people like Paul Young. Unbelievable. Matt Riley says, hi guys, hope you're both well. The Blades were absolutely amazing last night. Sydie Peck, I don't know who she is, but Hamer, Des Raki were absolutely unbelievable. And you are doing a watch. Are you doing a watch along with Leeds and Sunderland on Monday? Brilliant. Yes, Mark, I will be doing a watch along. I believe Jordan Motson has cleared his calendar to join me on that one. So at least you'll have a little bit of decent commentary and I'll be in the background somewhere. John says, hey, Jimmy, it was a fantastic game last night and seeing such a difference from the Portsmouth game. Ben is becoming my favourite player. Loving the Ramble. All the best from Australia. Thank you, pal. Appreciate your support. Up the Blaze, up the Ramble. Hope your little ones are well as well, because I remember saying hello to them just recently. Goody says, the best 17-man performance for a long time, not 1 week late. Yeah, absolutely. I would try to think if you were being sarky there, but you're on about the subs that came off the bench, aren't you? I assume. Did we have 6 subs off the bench? I'm not sure. Gulam says, sorry if I missed this, Jimmy. Any news on Gus? No, nothing. I don't think it will be that serious, to be honest. Did you want to say something there, Paul?
No. I was just saying 5 subs in it.
Yeah. Brian Blessed says, retep. Absolutely right. Danny Boy says, I just hope the quality of referees in this league doesn't cost us promotion, because that penalty decision was appalling last night. Didn't cost us yesterday, did it, Danny? But it could have done. And that's the frustrating thing about it. And Paul Rose of Wellstone Landscapes says, imagine Sunderland beat Leeds, then Leeds lose to us. Wheels really do start to fall off for them going into the West Brom. I love that. And what a way to finish as well. Man Mountain, I'll let you have the last word, pal, because I've now finally reached the end of the comments. Apologies, I had to jump over so many of them. I appreciate everybody's comments, but I tried to make sure everybody had at least one comment read out. So otherwise we'd be here till midnight, which is brilliant. I love the interaction on the channel. But Paul, last word from the Man Mountain.
If you didn't believe it on Saturday, guys, you must believe it now. You've got to believe it now. So let's enjoy it. We deserve it. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. We're going up, boys. We're going up. Girls.
Come on, you red and white wizards.
Up we go. Up we go. Up we go.
Up the Blades!